Look at your hands for a moment. They do not look ancient. They do not look like weapons. They do not look like fossils. They look ordinary, familiar human. But hidden inside every cell of those hands is a story far older than language, older than cities, older than every border on Earth. And the strangest part is that this story did not end with cavemen, or agriculture, or modern medicine, or smartphones. Most people imagine evolution as something that happened long ago, somewhere in the dust of prehistory. A slow climb from ape-like ancestors to fire, tools, villages, and finally us. As if humanity reached the top of some invisible staircase, looked around, and evolution quietly stopped. But that is not what happened. Evolution did not stop when humans built houses. It did not stop when we invented medicine. It did not stop when we learned to fly across oceans, edit genes, or light up the night with electricity. Evolution simply changed its battlefield. It left the open savanna and moved into milk, disease, cities, altitude, culture, technology, and choices so ordinary that most people never notice them. And this is where the story gets strange. Imagine standing on Earth 300,000 years ago. There are no countries, no hospitals, no clocks, no written history, just small groups of humans moving beneath enormous skies, listening for predators in the dark, carrying children across landscapes that could kill them in a single bad season. Every breath is a negotiation with nature. Every winter, every infection, every failed hunt can decide which genes survive into the future. Back then, evolution felt brutal because the world was brutal. The cold selected, hunger selected, disease selected, violence selected. The environment was not a background, it was a judge. But then humans did something no other species had ever done on the same scale. We started changing the judge. We made fire, we cooked food. We built shelters, we protected the weak. We shared stories, we buried the dead. We created tools that allowed fragile bodies to survive in places they were never designed to live, and for a while it seemed as if culture had freed us from evolution. But the problem was, every invention created a new environment, and every new environment created new pressures. Take milk. For most mammals, milk is a food for babies. After childhood, the body shuts down much of its ability to digest lactose, because in nature adults do not usually drink milk. For ancient humans, this was normal. Grow up, lose the ability, move on. Then something changed. Some humans began keeping cattle, goats, and sheep. Suddenly, milk was no longer just for infants. It became a portable source of calories, fat, water, and survival. In harsh landscapes, during famine, during long winters, the ability to drink animal milk as an adult could mean the difference between life and death. And over generations, in some populations, a genetic trait spread with unusual speed. Lactase persistence, the ability to keep digesting milk into adulthood. This was not evolution stopping. This was evolution walking straight into the barn. A cultural invention created a biological advantage. Human behavior changed the environment, and the environment changed humans back. The cow, the village, the child drinking milk beside a fire, all of it became part of the same evolutionary machine. But that was only the beginning. Now zoom out. One human lifetime feels long. 80 years can contain childhood, love, loss, ambition, regret, and entire worlds of memory. But compared to the age of our species, one lifetime is a blink. Compared to the age of life on Earth, all of human history is barely a spark. And yet, even within that tiny spark, evolution has continued to move. Sometimes quietly, sometimes violently. In regions where malaria has haunted human populations for thousands of years, the mosquito became more than an insect. It became a force of selection. Tiny wings in the night shaped human blood. Certain genetic variants, dangerous in one form, could offer protection against malaria in another. The result was not simple. Evolution rarely is. It did not create perfection. It created trade-offs. That is one of the most important things people misunderstand. Evolution does not care about comfort. It does not care about fairness. It does not care whether a trait is good in every situation. It only asks one cold question: in this environment, does it help genes move forward? And sometimes the answer is horrifying. A trait can protect against one danger while creating another. A body can be adapted to yesterday's world and suffer in today's. Evolution is not a designer drawing perfect machines. It is more like a blind editor, cutting and keeping, mistake by mistake, generation after generation. But the real story becomes even stranger when humans climb upward. High on the Tibetan plateau, the air is thin enough to punish the body. For people not adapted to altitude, every breath can feel incomplete. The heart works harder. The blood changes. Pregnancy becomes more dangerous. Life itself becomes a struggle against the invisible absence of oxygen. And yet some populations learn to live there for thousands of years. Not just culturally, biologically. Scientists found that some Tibetan high-altitude adaptations are linked to genes involved in how the body responds to low oxygen. One of the most famous is EPAS1, a genetic variant with an astonishing origin. It appears to have come not from modern humans alone, but from ancient Denisovan-like humans, a mysterious branch of the human family that once shared the planet with us. Think about what that means. A vanished human relative, gone from the world for tens of thousands of years, may still be helping living people breathe on the roof of the world. That is not a museum story. That is not a fossil behind glass. That is evolution hiding inside a heartbeat. But then modern life arrived, and many people assumed the old forces had finally been defeated. Medicine saves lives that would once have been lost. Glasses correct vision. Surgery repairs bodies. Vaccines train immune systems before infection can destroy them. The weak survive. The sick survive, the injured survive. And this is one of humanity's greatest achievements. But it did not end evolution. It changed what evolution could act on. Because survival is only one part of the story. Evolution also depends on reproduction, inheritance, migration, mutation, random chance, and the invisible mathematics of who has children when they have children and which traits become more common over time. In one famous line of research, using data from the Framingham Heart Study, scientists found evidence that natural selection was still operating in a contemporary human population. Not in a jungle, not in an ice age, but in modern people living ordinary lives with doctors, records, and suburban streets. The signal was subtle. It did not look like claws becoming sharper or bodies growing fur. It looked like small statistical shifts connected to traits and reproduction. The kind of change no single person would ever feel, but a population might carry across generations. And that is the unsettling part. Evolution does not need to be dramatic to be real. A coastline can change one grain of sand at a time. A mountain can rise so slowly that no eye sees it move. A species can change through tiny differences repeated across millions of births. But today, the pressures are becoming stranger than ever. For most of human history, the environment meant weather, predators, food, parasites, and distance. Now it also means algorithms, pollution, antibiotics, dating apps, delayed parenthood, urban isolation, processed food, artificial light, global travel, and diseases that can cross continents in hours. A child born today enters a world no ancestor ever experienced. Their body carries Stone Age instincts into digital rooms. Their metabolism meets calories that never existed in such abundance. Their sleep rhythms face glowing screens at midnight. Their immune system grows up in cities, vaccines, antibiotics, and new microbial landscapes. Their social life may be shaped by invisible code deciding which faces they see, which ideas reach them, and perhaps even who they love. And the question becomes impossible to ignore. What kind of selection happens in a world humans built for themselves? Maybe the future of evolution will not look like stronger jaws or taller bodies. Maybe it will involve resistance to new diseases, tolerance to polluted environments, fertility in an age of delayed reproduction, mental resilience in crowded digital societies, or biological responses to diets and lifestyles our ancestors could never have imagined. But that is not the strangest part. For the first time in the history of life on Earth, a species can see evolution happening and consider taking control of it. For billions of years, evolution had no witness. Bacteria changed without knowing it. Fish crawled toward land without understanding destiny. Dinosaurs rose and vanished without writing a single warning. Mammals survived in the shadows. Primates reached for branches. Humans stood upright beneath the sun. And then, somehow, evolution produced a creature that could study evolution. A creature that could read DNA like an ancient manuscript. A creature that could ask whether its own future should be left to chance. This is where the story stops being only biological and becomes almost philosophical, because humanity is no longer just being shaped by nature. Humanity is shaping the conditions that shape humanity. We are not outside evolution. We are inside it, while also becoming one of its forces. Every hospital changes survival. Every city changes behavior. Every culture changes reproduction. Every technology changes the pressures around us. Every choice made by millions of people becomes part of the environment our descendants inherit. And yet beneath all the machines, the ancient truth remains. Your body is not final. Your species is not finished. The human story is not a completed sculpture. It is wet clay still being pressed by hands we barely understand. Some of those hands are ancient: hunger, disease, climate, birth, death. Some are new: medicine, code, pollution, migration, desire, loneliness, choice. Most people will go through their entire lives believing evolution is something that happened before them. Something written in bones, displayed in museums, explained in textbooks, and left behind with the mammoths. But tonight, when you look at your reflection, you are not seeing the end of evolution. You are seeing one frame in a film that has been running for billions of years. Your eyes carry the memory of oceans. Your spine carries the compromise of walking upright. Your fears carry the shadows of predators. Your blood may carry old battles against disease. Your ability to live in this world depends on countless ancestors who survived just long enough to pass something forward. And somewhere in the future, long after everyone alive today is gone, someone may look back at us and realize that we were not the generation after evolution ended. We were the generation that finally noticed it was still happening. And perhaps the deepest mystery is not whether evolution stopped. It is what humanity will become now that evolution has begun to understand itself.